I guess it's my business now. A Tale in 5 Acts, by user Ignarts. I've wanted to post this tale here for a long time. I've started the post many times, walking away from the computer and giving up each time. Note, that like many tales here, many trivial to the story details have been changed. What is important to note is that the way my industry runs is essentially via monthly service contracts with clients. There are 3 major players in the story: myself Ignarts, old owner let's call him Steve, and new owner let's call him Kyle. Act 1, do what you love. As an aimless teenager I started working for a small business owned by Steve. It turns out I really enjoyed what I did, so slowly over time my life plans shifted to make sure I could continue to work for Steve for the long term. This included transferring to a local college, and because the business was predominantly run on part-time hours, making sure that any other jobs I had never conflicted with the hours I was expected to work for Steve. Steve was flawed, but overall a good boss who mostly looked out for me. I certainly think over the years he had taken advantage of me in small ways, but looking back I really have no complaints. The thing is, that while when I started working for Steve the business name recognition was always directed towards Steve, over the years it eventually became, go to Ignarts, he's the best. This got to the point where I do indeed truly believe that if I did not end up working for Steve, it's very likely his business would have been nowhere near as successful as it eventually became. As years went on, it was heavily implied that when Steve retired the business would go to me. It was never specifically stated, but Steve did have a way about skirting around those types of issues and giving me hope. Act 2, enter Kyle. About 3 years before COVID, Steve decided to retire and sell his business. He did indeed fulfill his promise by making a half-assed attempt to sell it to me at an unreasonable price, but it was very clear he already had another buyer in mind, Kyle. Kyle owned another local business just outside of our market area in the same industry. Because of the way the industry worked, there really was much, if any, overlap in potential customers, but Kyle had a very large amount of money and was willing to buy. What is important to note here is that, again, I do truly believe that if I didn't play ball and agree to work for Kyle, my role was so integral to operation at our business, that there is no possible way a sale could go through. Over the course of negotiations, Kyle ended up buying the business and putting me in charge of running the day-to-day, something I was mostly already doing, but with a few more administrative tasks tacked onto it. The thing is, my name was still the name in town, and Kyle made zero effort to ever be on location, so nobody that did business with us ever really knew who Kyle was. Act 3, Kyle's kind of a dick, and how I learned to stand up for myself. All was well for a while. Kyle would openly talk about me being the head honcho at my location and mostly left me alone to deal with my clients in the professional and personable nature that I had learned from Steve. Things first came to a head a year before COVID when Kyle sent me to an industry conference for 4 days. I would need to take off time from my other job, which I was fine with. At the conclusion of the conference I put in an hour's request for the hours I spent at the conference, and I was super nice about it. Actually I should have clocked all hours at the convention each day, but instead did not account for hours for seminars that would help my boss but were ones I had wanted to attend. The request was denied and I was told, industry conferences are enriching activities, we pay for your admission but they're on your own time. This took 2 weeks to resolve but ended with me essentially saying, look, I'll still work for you because I love what I do, however, if I don't get paid I will never go to another one of these conferences again to get new ideas for you. I was immediately paid. I will spare similar smaller stories of that nature, but that slowly started to become the relationship between Kyle and I. Act 4, COVID hits. When COVID hit our locations were shut down, and for 3 weeks we weren't able to do anything. Meanwhile our clients were still paying for services, and because Kyle had recently moved to a new client payment portal that I hadn't been trained on yet, I wasn't able to help any clients get their money back. At one point I messaged Kyle about going virtual and being able to still assist clients and got a very angry text back, full of curses, that essentially said, look, you're not the boss, go fuck yourself, you had your chance to be the owner and turned it down. I'm in charge. We did eventually go virtual about a week later. The big problem of course being that I would receive daily texts/emails/calls from clients about their memberships/bills, and there was nothing I could do to help them. It was at this point that I knew shit was hitting the fan and I needed to start doing something. So over the course of the next 2 months I did a couple things. I don't think Kyle was expecting any of this, and he probably didn't also realize that because I often had to do back-end stuff from home, I also had what was essentially a little black book of every client, their email addresses and phone numbers. Act 5, Surgical Strikes. When everything was ready I waited very patiently only the end of a service month, as I mentioned, All of our clients had monthly costs, and I didn't want to put anyone out of any part of their costs. On the last weekday of the month I instructed the staff who would be helping clients that day to tell them to check their emails at the end of the day. At the end of the day I sent out an email to all active and some non-active clients, as well as a texting service to text everybody. I launched our social media accounts, our website, and had even enlisted a very small amount of trusted clients to spread the word via social media once I gave them the signal. Within 15 minutes of everything my phone was ringing off the hook, I had 50 plus emails in my inbox from different people, and my Facebook accounts were completely blowing up with local chatter. I also heard from many of these people that they were calling Kyle to cancel their service. We hosted a Zoom meeting for all concerned parties and essentially decided to take the weekend to clear up any confusion with the systems and start fresh and open our doors on Monday. Within an hour of everything, Kyle sent out a text blast to every client that they would be shutting their doors effective immediately. At the start of COVID we had roughly 50 active clients at the business. On my first day of business I had signed up 75 active clients, many inactive ones telling me, "Yeah, we stopped doing business with you guys because Kyle was kind of a dick." What is really important to keep in mind here is that I never wanted to, nor cared to be, a business owner. I was very happy working for somebody else as long as I wasn't treated like shit. Had Kyle treated me even remotely better, the location would have continued to thrive and be a staple in our local community. Kyle chose to be a dick to try and get quick money and cheat people, and Kyle lost out. We've been in business now almost 2 years, have nearly tripled Kyle's active numbers, and continue to be a staple in our community. Our old boss sold his business to someone who was kind of a dick. New guy didn't realize I was the face of the business and ended up losing out on everything.